Welcome to our deep dive into one of the quirkiest chapters in Australian history, the Great EMU War. Yes, you heard that right. This wasn't a battle against a foreign enemy or a struggle for independence. It was a conflict between humans and emus, those large, flightless birds that seem to have a knack for causing chaos. In the early 1930s, Australian farmers faced an unexpected foe as emus invaded their wheat fields, munching away at crops and leaving devastation in their wake. What followed was a series of military operations that can only be described as both baffling and amusing. Armed with machine guns, soldiers set out to combat these feathered foes, but the emus proved to be surprisingly elusive. This unusual conflict not only highlights the resilience of farmers, but also serves as a humorous reminder of how sometimes nature has the upper hand. As we explore the Great EMU War, we'll blend humor with historical intrigue, showcasing how this bizarre event reflects broader themes of human perseverance and adaptability. So, buckle up as we unravel the tale of how a bunch of emus outsmarted the Australian military, leaving behind a legacy that still tickles the funny bone of history enthusiasts today. To truly understand the Great EMU War, we need to take a step back into the post-World War I era in Australia. This was a time of significant change and challenge for many Australian farmers. After the war, returning soldiers were encouraged to take up farming as a means of rebuilding their lives. However, they faced a myriad of agricultural challenges, including drought, soil degradation, and economic instability. These issues made it increasingly difficult for them to cultivate their land and sustain their livelihoods. Amidst these struggles, a new problem emerged, an influx of emus. These large, flightless birds began migrating into the farmlands of Western Australia, drawn by the abundance of crops that farmers were desperately trying to grow. The emus quickly became a menace, feasting on wheat and other crops, and compounding the already dire situation for farmers who were trying to recover from the war's aftermath. In response to this growing crisis, the Australian government decided to intervene. They viewed the emu population as a threat to agricultural stability and initiated military action to curb the birds' impact on crops. Little did they know, this would lead to one of the most unusual conflicts in history, setting the stage for the Great EMU War. As the emu population continued to wreak havoc on the farmlands of Western Australia, the government decided it was time to take action. In late 1932, they deployed soldiers from the Australian Army to tackle this unusual foe. Armed with machine guns and a sense of duty, the military was tasked with controlling the emu population, a decision that would soon reveal its own brand of absurdity. The initial strategy involved setting up ambushes in areas where emus were known to gather. Soldiers would hide behind bushes and wait for the birds to come into range, ready to unleash a barrage of firepower. However, the emus proved to be surprisingly agile and clever, often scattering in all directions at the first sign of danger. This led to a series of comical failures, as soldiers found themselves outsmarted by a flock of birds. Among the key figures in this operation was Major G.P.W. Meredith, who led the troops in their attempts to bring the emu population under control. His reports, filled with a mix of frustration and disbelief, highlighted the absurdity of using military tactics against such an unexpected adversary. As the conflict unfolded, it became clear that the emus were not going down without a fight, setting the stage for a battle that would go down in history for its sheer peculiarity. As the Great EMU War unfolded, it quickly became evident that these feathered foes were not just mindless birds, they were surprisingly resilient and adaptable. The emus showcased an uncanny ability to evade capture, often outsmarting the soldiers at every turn. Their speed and agility made them difficult targets, and they seemed to have a sixth sense for when danger was near. One particularly humorous anecdote involved a group of soldiers who set up an ambush near a waterhole, convinced they had finally cornered a flock of emus. As they lay in wait, the birds approached cautiously, only to suddenly take off in a flurry of feathers at the last moment. The soldiers, caught off guard, could only watch in disbelief as the emus sprinted away, leaving behind nothing but dust and laughter. Another failed attempt saw soldiers trying to herd the emus into a confined area using vehicles. Instead of cooperating, the birds scattered in all directions, leaving the soldiers frustrated and bewildered. These comical misadventures became a source of amusement for the troops, who found themselves in a battle that felt more like a slapstick comedy than a military operation. The emus, with their unexpected cunning, turned the tables, proving that sometimes nature has a way of humbling even the most prepared of adversaries. The Great EMU War quickly captured the attention of the Australian public and media, sparking a mix of amusement and bewilderment. Newspapers across the country reported on the bizarre conflict, often highlighting the absurdity of soldiers armed with machine guns facing off against a flock of birds. Headlines ranged from serious to satirical, with many articles blending humor and criticism, questioning the effectiveness of military tactics against such an unusual adversary. Public perception of the conflict was largely light-hearted, with many Australians finding the situation laughable. The image of soldiers struggling to outmaneuver emus became a source of national amusement, leading to jokes and anecdotes that circulated widely. This blend of humor and critique reflected a broader sentiment about the challenges faced by farmers and the government's response to agricultural issues. The Great EMU War also left a lasting impact on Australian culture, becoming a quirky part of the national narrative. It inspired various cultural references, from cartoons to comedic skits, and even found its way into discussions about resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. Today, the EMU remains a symbol of the unexpected challenges in life, reminding Australians that sometimes the most serious situations can take a turn for the absurd. As we wrap up our exploration of the Great EMU War, let's recap the key events and themes that made this conflict so memorable. We've seen how Australian farmers faced significant challenges in the post-World War I era, leading to an unexpected invasion of emus that wreaked havoc on their crops. The military's attempts to control the emu population, armed with machine guns and strategic plans, turned into a comical series of failures, showcasing the surprising resilience and adaptability of these feathered foes. This unusual chapter in history teaches us valuable lessons about human folly and resilience. It reminds us that sometimes, despite our best efforts, nature has a way of outsmarting us, and that humor can often be found in the most unexpected situations. If you enjoyed this quirky tale and want to learn more about unique historical events, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like this video and share it with friends who appreciate a good laugh mixed with history. Your support helps us bring more fascinating stories to life, so join us on this journey through the oddities of our past. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.